This video is brought to you by my lovely patrons and by Nebula, where you can get extended, uncensored episodes of LynchPins a whole week early before they drop on YouTube.
It's been so nice talking to you and continuing to talk like we're going to do.
Yes, like we were before, and
That's
now
correct.
we still will.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for joining us in media res, audience, for LynchPins, the David Lynch podcast for people who'd like to like David Lynch.
Yes, and for people who already like David Lynch.
It's for everybody.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey.
I've never seen a David Lynch movie. I'm scared.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird, but don't worry. It's okay. We're going to help you here.
I love it. I feel so welcomed and informed.
Good. That's the goal. Anyway. What's the one we're doing today?
What's up? Anyway.
What a stupid bit.
Over. Woo!
We're just never going to really rehearse any of our bits, are we? We're just going to...
That's not...
It's going to be from the holster
Adam,
every time.
I am an improviser.
Is this what we're doing?
Yeah.
I know.
I don't...
I love that.
I don't.
I've been writing every joke down for years. Every single one.
You okay?
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I'm in a lot of pain.
Not...
Thank you for asking.
Wow.
Whew. I know.
That would worry me about you, but I'm
If I
glad
was
that
writing
was a
stuff
joke.
down?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I didn't write that one down.
Good. Thank God. Oh my God.
Can you imagine? I'm like Devs, but for jokes.
What if I found out you're just
like some
an
weird
NPC?
future-telling savant, but for jokes? Would you be impressed by that?
No.
Me neither.
Someone else made you, yeah.
Yeah, some monster made me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Sent
all
you
comes
back
back
in
to poor
Monsters.
things, by the way.
Oh,
and monsters.
and yeah. I mean, it is, interesting to see a modern film have inspiration from our dear Lynch here.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this podcast very well might end up taking on films that are inspired by David Lynch after we go through his initial filmography.
There are many, many upon
So
which
many.
to gaze.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's the great beyond that we're contemplating.
Yeah.
What are we doing in the short term today?
Short term, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for that human greeting. I'm so good. How are you?
I wrote that one down 5 weeks ago.
How do you feel?
How was
today?
my natural delivery?
It's very good.
Good. So episode 1 was Straight Story. That was our first pick
Correct.
for least Lynchiest.
Correct.
This is we're on a stiff curve from here on out.
Real stiff curve.
And this is the first, I think, turn into a Lynch experience, if you will.
Yeah, into the erect form of
Ew.
of Lynchianism.
Yes.
As per bell curves. You all know how bell curves work. They get erect. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Elephant Man, which is the 1980 film that probably a lot of people have heard of. I find this is the one most people have not seen.
I agree.
Weirdly. It's great.
It's great.
It's really good.
I'm sure many of you will recognize the famous phrase, I am not an animal,
Yes,
I'm
I
a
am not
man. If you watch The Simpsons, I'm sure they referenced it a bajillion times. I think there's a reference from the Rugrats. If you've watched any cartoon show, they reference this
It's
movie.
the one thing that seems like it permeated pop culture
Yeah.
from this movie.
Interesting.
Although there is one other thing that is a behind-the-scenes detail that I guess I'll spoil now. The Academy Award for Best Makeup was created because of this movie.
Yes.
Because this movie didn't win that award in that it did not exist, and people were pissed.
Yes. They were like, we see the work.
Yeah.
We see it. We want that recognized.
The makeup is amazing in this film.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
It is amazing, and it also, not to get ahead of ourselves, but
Yeah.
it is amazing how much it bolsters the humanity
Yes.
and the inhumanity
Yes.
that we place upon otherness.
Yes.
And it encapsulates both. And John Hurt,
Agreed.
who plays John Merrick, the main
Yes.
character, the Elephant Man, does an amazing job performing
I like him.
through it. Yeah.
He's very as an actor he's often big with his performances, and I don't mind that.
Yeah.
This film really he needed that.
Yeah.
There's just no other way.
Do you want to? He had a quote that
Curious.
said, because he had to sit through hours and
I
hours
can
and
only
hours
imagine.
of makeup.
can only imagine.
Finally, they made a role that made him not like acting.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. You always
Truly
hear
just
that.
because you sit there, all, you know.
Yeah,
But
the hours and hours in makeup is...
Yeah.
I did an hour once for like a week on a zombie thing.
oh my God.
And dude, it's a battle of wills.
Yeah.
Like just being a zombie, which seems
Yeah.
like, well, that'd be fun. No, man. It is a crucible.
To me, the makeup chair is meditation.
It has to be.
It has to be.
You know,
it has to be.
And that's where also you learn all your astrology. If you're going to learn astrology...
Is that where you do it?
Every time I've ever learned about astrology, it's been in a makeup
Really?
chair. Oh my God.
That is so funny.
You have no idea.
Because of the makeup ladies?
I know about moons.
Yeah.
And like which one I was born in. I
Yeah.
forget it immediately.
Sure.
My brain won't retain it.
Okay.
But I learned it there.
Scorpio.
Wait, I'm a Scorpio.
Oh my God.
Are we the same?
Baby, what?
What?
When's your birthday?
October 24th.
Okay. November 2nd.
I do accept gifts. November...
Send them to me.
Wait.
Yeah.
How did we not
know?
ever... What? Have we never met before?
Who are you?
Yeah, what is this? Am
What?
I in a strange permeable membrane? We're going to need to get into our first segment. This is bananas. And that first segment is What Happened?
What happened?
What happened indeed? I think we could do a whole podcast on this Scorpio revelation.
Uh,
Do you always get told, oh, you're so Scorpio? Oh, that's such a Scorpio?
Yes.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know how that's possible for you and I both to get that message.
I know. And also that Scorpios are usually portrayed as bitches.
Yeah. And
And
I'm
we're
nothing,
not bitches.
I'm just made of sugar.
Yeah.
I don't understand
I don't get it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
There's some Scorpio bigotry going on in the
100%.
astrology world.
Moving on to What Happened.
Moving on.
This is the section of our show where we discuss all the information you need to know in the recap form.
Yes, the literal
Yes.
face value, what happened.
Yeah, what is
during
the plot and
Yes.
how was the film made and some of those things.
Yes, which will get harder to do as the films go on.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
We're enjoying our breezy days today.
We are. Speaking of,
let's do it.
it was released in 1980.
Yes, it was.
So picture that. It's the 80s. Hair is tall. Cell phones, not existent.
Empires are striking back.
I guess I got the fluffy sleeves.
You should have always had those.
I do.
feel like-
I
yeah,
enjoy a fluff
yeah.
sleeve. Yeah.
Again-
Also, poor thing.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, bro, they went all out with those sleeves.
Yeah. Puff it all the way up.
They were like...
Woo!
They were like Legion of Doom or some shit. It was pretty epic. Anyway, you could do that. You could bring plenty sleeves in.
like
Anyway.
them. Anyway, so the movie The Elephant Man is adapted from the life of a real man named Joseph Merrick, who we now recognize as probably having Proteus syndrome,
Yes.
which causes abnormal tissue growth. And the film stars Anthony Hopkins as the doctor.
Young Anthony Hopkins.
Young Anthony Hopkins.
I feel like you don't even think about him as an actor before Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
I know he was
sure.
in a bunch of shit.
Right.
But Silence of the Lambs completely changed his life
Yeah.
and his career.
Yeah.
Like,
Before that, he started a whole David Lynch film. Yeah.
and he
it's
was
very
quite
like,
good in it.
He
I thought.
is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He's carrying a lot in this.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, John Hurt plays
Yes.
the titular Elephant Man.
Yes. If anybody doesn't know who he is, and isn't willing to Google, but is willing to listen to our podcast, he was also in the movie Alien.
Yeah.
And he his most famous role, perhaps, is as Ollivander the Wizard, who vends wands in Harry Potter.
Oh,
He's the wand
yes.
guy.
I forgot that.
But isn't it perfect for him though?
Yeah.
Like just the one chooses the wizard, Harry.
He was
You know?
good in the- yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of his vibe. I feel like.
Yeah.
You know,
And he's amazing in this movie.
he's so good. Yeah,
He's amazing.
He's so good.
Yeah. Some other notable names who are attached. Produced by Mel Brooks.
That's the one that blows your mind.
Blows your mind.
Like,
Yeah.
he took his name off of it, right?
Yes.
'Cause,
Do not give the false sense that this is a comedy. Which it is
Makes
very,
sense.
there's a very important things discussed in this film.
Yeah.
And it makes very much sense. He didn't want that expectation
Yeah.
out there for,
I saw him talk about why he hired David Lynch for this film, and he described Lynch as a person who was much closer than most people to the meaning of life and the secret of the universe. Like
That's
he's very connected
beautiful.
to all that.
Yeah.
That was his reason for hiring him for this film.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Isn't that an interesting summary?
That is.
And like, what a compliment,
oh my God, absolutely.
you know?
I also think that's a testament. I mean, again, like, why do people like David Lynch? It's
Yeah.
always a nebulous question because,
Right.
again, you'll meet some bro in the corner of the party that we keep referring to, and, you know,
you're
he'll
befriending.
talk about the lights are this and that, and the
lights are so
lights
good.
are so good. But really,
Yeah.
it is more, at least for me, more that. the humanity that he brings out of stories is very like pure and wonderful.
And he's very evocative.
Yes, absolutely.
I think I will say this over and over, I'm sure. David Lynch can create emotions when you should not be feeling emotions.
Yeah.
He can take away the thing that makes most movies work, which is I've been following the story and I'm rooting for something, and then it happens or it doesn't. That's how almost all emotion happens in movies. David Lynch doesn't even need that.
He will make you care about the person.
Correct. Yeah. Or just the moment.
Yeah.
And he'll absorb you so fully into it that you're having a rich emotional experience without context.
Yeah.
That is an amazing talent.
Yes,
and
that very few people
that,
have. Yeah, absolutely. And going off of that, it was edited by Ann Coates, who edited Lawrence of Arabia. So
heard of it? Heard of that? Yeah.
I love Lawrence of Arabia.
I know you do love Lawrence, but you're a classic film junkie.
I am.
Like you're one of those.
But even of the classic films, that one is still.
What's fun about it is you think it's going to be one thing, and it turns out to be a lot more fun than that thing you imagine.
And also deeper than that thing you think it is.
Agreed.
Yeah. And also, there's no women in it, which is fun to me.
Really?
Well, it's fun to see them be like, yeah, this is normal.
Sometimes I like a movie that is very much locked in one point of view.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, The Lighthouse, another movie that could be on this podcast.
Love.
The Lighthouse, there's like maybe 3 seconds of women in that movie.
Yeah.
And when you see them, you're like, oh my God, thank you for the break.
I know.
I just need.
I know.
There's so much.
Well, Lawrence of
Arabia
is like that, but they don't give you a break.
Yeah.
They don't let you have a break from. So
it's such a fun movie, actually.
It is.
You know, for an epic, it's very fun.
Yeah.
And they usually aren't.
Yeah.
That's a cool get for him.
It's a great get. Last name I will drop is Freddie Francis, who's the DP and cinematographer, and shot one of my favorite films, The Innocents.
I didn't know that was one of your favorite films.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't he also shoot The Straight Story?
Yes.
Which we discussed?
Yes, we have.
I would like to hear from him, and I didn't get to mention it in the last
explanation?
episode. I want to know how they decided on the shot where the hat gets blown off through the wind. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I know this isn't the Straight Story episode. I just need to get this off my chest. There's a shot that's like the cartooniest shot you've ever seen of this man's hat blowing off. And it's just one of those like I want to hear the conversation the cinematographer had with David Lynch about that.
Yeah.
Like, this is a cartoonish shot, sir. Yes?
Yes.
Yes? What's your point?
Is there a question? Sweet pea, get back on that tractor.
Listen, sweetheart, just roll when I tell you to roll. It's a Friday.
Listen, Freddie. It's a Friday.
It's a Friday. All right. Oh, by the way, if you don't know, David Lynch is putting out weekly, what we call them, like YouTube videos.
Yes, although he's not currently doing them, but he has a treasure trove of daily weather updates.
They're just weather updates with like lucky numbers and stuff.
Yep.
And it just proves how fucking wonderful he is. Like, he's so charming and absurd.
A multifaceted man. Also an artist, also a musician.
Yeah.
Also.
Go check that out. Please enjoy yourself. What a wonderful time it is.
Yeah.
Okay, we've set it up. What happens in this movie? Yeah.
So we get to the segment.
Yeah.
What happens?
Yes.
All right, so we start, and again, this is why I'm saying it is a steep curve, because the start of this movie is a dream sequence montage.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is very weird. We see elephants. What is happening on a plot level is that we are getting the backstory of our main character, John Merrick, his mother, who was trampled to death by elephants. We don't know if that's true, but that is his vision of...
It's a very mythic beginning.
Yes.
Like, it feels like something out of an ancient tale.
Yes, and it could have been that was what was told to him about his mother. It could be what really happened. But so we are given the images of that.
It's extremely subjective compared to everything else in the film.
Yes.
Everything else we've talked about so far in the podcast.
Yes.
It's far and away the most like subjective space we've been in.
Yeah.
By a pretty wide margin.
Yep.
Like the soundscape of it is like there's sort of blended sounds, so you don't know who's who in it.
Yeah. There's like animal noise. There's like an absence of noise, like a wind. Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's his favorite thing.
That is his favorite.
Yeah, he loves a wind tunnel. He'll put anything in a wind tunnel.
He'll do that all day.
He doesn't give a shit.
This podcast could happen in a wind tunnel.
Absolutely. He'd be thrilled.
You would.
Throw a surf guitar stand.
I'm sure he's disappointed right now that we are clearly speaking into microphones. Yeah, this hurts.
We're hurting.
Little tears are coming from his eyes.
No doubt. He's like, they could do a better job for me, for Davey.
For me, old Dave.
For Davey.
All right, so that is the opening that they jump you into.
Yeah.
But then we do start the regular narrative,
Indeed.
I'll say, of our other protagonist, played by young Anthony Hopkins, Frederick Treves.
Treves.
Yes, who was in real life was the doctor who took John into the hospital.
They ever say what kind of doctor he is?
No.
They
don't. He's just a nebulous. Well, also, this is happening in the Victorian era.
Right.
So what is a doctor? A leech man?
Good question.
I mean, they're doing their best, but it's not good. So
he may as well be Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Honestly, it kind of feels like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure at the time they had like specialized names for things, but
no doubt. Yeah, he's a humorologist or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
I think he can do whatever he wants. The way that this film portrays it is, as long as he can justify it to the hospital's governor, then he can do it.
Yeah. There are some like weird mechanics of doctors in this movie.
Yes.
Like one thing I just want us all to remember is this is all before penicillin.
Yes.
Everything about this.
Yes, the 80s.
Yeah. This is a time in history where like they didn't have penicillin yet.
Yes.
So like it's a really different universe. A
universe where you could go to a circus freak show and see human beings on display for the money. Spectacle and the oddity, and yes, for the person who owns that person, money.
Right, because that's how Treves meets John Merrick, is he goes to his exhibit.
Yes.
Through a forbidden, it says no entry. It's like a forbidden door.
Yes.
So that was a strange, I guess we'll talk about that later. That was a strange introduction into getting into John Merrick.
It is, yes. And we don't yet see the Elephant Man.
No.
We only see the doctor. We see what's happening. He goes and meets, and I do want to use, his name is Bites. He does own the Elephant Man, so that is his owner.
Yeah.
He's enslaved to this man, yes, who uses him for money.
Quite frankly, I don't think John Merrick is ever not owned in this movie.
Yes, well, yeah.
I mean, I don't even mean that metaphorically. Like,
no, it's true.
Even the hospital kind of has to own him.
Yeah.
So, like, his freedom is honestly what's at stake the entire film. At all times,
yes. If he ever we'll dig into it.
He's not even really able to fight back.
No.
Like, he's pretty helpless.
Yeah.
Physically helpless.
Yeah, and because his owner, Bites, cares about money, our dear doctor pays him off to borrow him to show him off to his medical friends.
Yeah, I want to talk for a bit about Bites. When is the time to do that? You think it's now?
We'll come back to him. Yeah.
Because man, what a character! Fascinating character.
Fascinating character.
Repugnant.
The actor, I'm blanking on his name.
We're gonna call him Bites actor.
Mr. Bites. Tiny Bite.
Yeah.
Little Bite Man. He is incredible and unsettling in the scariest way.
He's sincere in a way that when you see somebody who's delusional and awful and sincere, that's when you really get upset.
Scary.
I think.
Yeah. Freddie Jones.
Jones, a voice from beyond, has told us it's Freddie Jones.
Freddie Jones.
Yes.
Bites, who is played by Freddie Jones.
Great.
Is incredible.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know.
So he's shown off to all his medical friends, one of those like medical whatever.
Symposiums. Yeah. Honestly, 90% of this movie could be in the video game Bloodborne. Like it's just this like very grim, like dark fantasy Victorian hospital.
Yeah, it is interesting that they right away invite the comparison because he goes straight from being shown off at the freak show to being shown off in the medical. And again, we don't see him in full. We see silhouettes of the Elephant Man. his body. Yeah, we see bits and pieces. We hear him, his labored breathing. We don't have a clear image of him.
It does do the thing. The movie has to do the thing. And, like, this is probably the main, like, philosophical debate of the film, which is the movie is doing this thing where it wants also to give you the experience of seeing the Elephant Man. Because it has to.
Yeah.
That's what the movie's about, you know? But it doesn't want to exploit him because the movie's about how he's exploited by literally everybody.
Right. And also as a viewer, David Lynch wants us to interrogate ourselves as the viewer. So it's like he places us both as a part of the viewer of the spectacle.
Right.
But then also later we are invited into the Elephant Man's real
whatever his real world is. I mean, essentially, his real world is very small.
Yeah. And and like our worlds are small.
Yes. Well, his world is a room, basically.
Yeah.
But, you know, we spend some time in that room, and it's quite lovely. I mean, honestly, if it's not too rude to say, I feel like basically once Treves takes him out, it's really just a series of everyone meeting him, pretending like they're not exploiting him.
Yes.
But then exploiting him.
Absolutely.
That's all that the movie really is.
Yes. You know, and an interrogation of that, a questioning of that.
Right.
Yes.
Right. John Merrick doesn't seem to understand that, which is another tragic layer of this. Like, he gets treated with kindness by Treves and the doctors, and then high society that kind of sees him as a pitiable case.
Yes.
They're still putting on. I know this is like a little interpretive, but like these are the beats.
Yeah.
So like he's getting invited to balls, and like, you know, they're doing all this stuff that's nice for him, trying to give him a nice life after all that he's suffered, and he never seems to question whether it's sincere or whether he's being exploited. Like, that question doesn't seem to rise to his mind. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, although I'm sure it does. And it does also, I think the film, I feel like he later becomes friends with an actress. And that feels very genuine because neither have anything to gain from the other. Because she's already a famous actress. And they do seem to have a genuine connection. And also they are also viewed as a spectacle. So in a way, it's like I think she understands what that is like and would feel like. Although hers is a consensual choosing to.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, because he gets... So there are a number of people in the film that exploit him against his will. Yes. The first and most important being the name of the actor, who's Freddie Jones, and his character, Mr. Bites. So he is the main antagonist. But then there's some other guy who works at the hospital.
Yes.
Who ends up sort of running an on-the-side freak show. Yeah, should we... Yeah. Yeah,
okay. So John is taken into the hospital. They actually do give him back to Bites, who severely beats him. He is beaten so badly that they take him back to the hospital to treat him.
For treatment.
And this is where Fred, our doctor... takes a stand and wants John to stay in the hospital because he is afraid of him being hurt in the outside world.
Or dying. A thing that seems like it should happen soon.
Especially at the hands of someone else.
And to be clear, John Merrick is like 21.
Yeah.
He's a young man.
Yes, he's a young man.
You know, but he's not... He's not going to live a full adult life, right? Like, that doesn't seem possible.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't have penicillin.
Without penicillin.
Yeah.
But I think even if he'd had treatment, I think.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is slightly treatable because it is. I mean, it's similar to. I'm not a doctor, but it is similar
I'll pretend to be.
I'll put a doctor hat on if you pay me.
Hand me a scalpel. I'll fix it right now.
Hand it to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are things that you can do to mitigate.
It is a progressive disease that is treatable. You're saying, not curable, but.
Yes, there are ways. Mitigate. Okay. It is not immediately a life or death situation.
I'll be straight up. I didn't think I needed to know enough about the disease to research for this podcast, so I
that is okay.
didn't. So I'm gonna accept anything you tell me.
Well, going off of this, so our Dr. Fred has to prove to the hospital governor that there's a reason for keeping John, because I guess they're not allowed to keep, and this is their words, incurables. So anyone with a terminal disease or illness, they basically just throw out as a lost cause, so we can't have them take up space.
They can't pay for people to be wards of the state forever.
Yes.
That's like their mission statement, and it seems like it's also based on like government regulation.
Yeah, it seems very
because the crown is directly involved in this hospital. Mm-hmm. Like the crown does decide ultimately whether to keep him or not. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a political aspect to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they both discover that John can read, and they're both surprised by it.
Right.
And so he's allowed to stay in the hospital.
Forgive me. So Treves is like teaching John Merrick, who honestly was treated like an animal.
Yes.
Like he was treated, barely literate, understood English.
Yeah.
We don't think he can speak. We don't think he can read. And we discover actually he can.
He can.
In the course of Treves trying to put one over on his governor and like teach him enough to make him seem human.
Right. And it turns out,
he is.
He is.
He's just so used to being abused that he never shows any of his humanity to anybody.
Right.
So that's like the first moment. And by the way, like, how do I say that? I mean, like, it's actually emotional just thinking about it. Like, I've never seen a movie where a person's pain is so visceral and affecting.
Yeah.
I'm hard pressed to think of a movie.
I mean, we'll talk about it more later, but again, I mentioned that oftentimes you hear the labored breathing. You hear parts of his body that you don't normally hear on a whatever.
Right.
And part of that is like you can hear like the labor of his breath because his body is in pain because he is hurting, for regular reasons, but also because of all the abuse that he has suffered throughout his whole life.
It's definitely a choice that, I do want to talk a little bit about it. But, like, there are a number of, like, famous moments in cinema or television where allowing a thing that is normally erased in production to remain or enhancing a thing that exists in production that you normally remove is a character-defining thing. Like, another fun example of that, and a place you don't think about it, is The Sopranos. So when you watch The Sopranos, Tony Soprano, you always hear his breathing.
Yeah.
Like his thick breathing. Why?
Right.
He's a monster.
He's a monster.
It's simple,
Yeah. You know whose dream sequences were influenced by Lynch?
Yes, that's right. They feel like it.
The Sopranos.
They feel like it.
And the director has said
David Chase.
Yeah, that's why he did it.
That's interesting.
I know.
That's pretty chill.
I know.
I dig that.
Pretty wild.
So the point is, watch The Sopranos.
The point of this entire podcast is watch The Sopranos.
Go watch The Sopranos.
Go watch The Sopranos.
You'll like it.
Come back.
Crazy ending. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
I'll just say he's in the hospital, and to continue the theme of people continually exploiting him, the night porter starts selling tickets so that people can come and laugh at the freak show, the Elephant Man.
Right. And there's a few steps to that, but we don't need to get in every single one of them. I think the point is that at some point he physically forces the Elephant Man to be John to be viewed. And it's clear, like, I don't want to use judgmental words, but I think they're like kind of important. He's like selling tickets to lowlifes and stuff.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Yes.
Like it's a repugnant practice. It feels gross.
Yes.
And cruel.
Yeah, and it's depicted as gross and
very
cruel.
much so.
Yeah.
I said I'd want to spend a full hour on those dudes who bring the sex workers. It's just like, look at him. They're like trying to make out with this woman while forcing her to see the Elephant Man. And it's like, just, can you imagine what she would have said yes to?
She's like, I would rather be with that man, that elephant. I'd rather be sitting with him and having a conversation than you licking my face.
Correct.
That's the vibe I get from those poor women.
Listen, all the things that are normally on my no box. Let's just say yes. Let's get on with it, man.
Let's go.
You know, let's...
Yeah. And again, this is, in the film, this is laced between, getting visited by actresses, getting treated so well by high society, and yet at night, he's being victimized by these people.
Yeah, and the film is not gently, I would say, slowly showing that he's also sort of a trophy for
absolutely
the wealthy class.
Yes. I think the next thing that happens is his nurse, Mrs. Motherhead.
Yes.
Mrs. Mothershead. The names
Is that her
in
name?
this, yes,
Mothershead?
Yeah, the names in here are very loaded.
That's
yes,
fantastic.
It is. It's great.
Okay, great.
And she's a very kind figure in here. She is like a motherly figure. She is the one who brings up to our Dr. Fred, Mr. Anthony Hopkins, that he is exploiting John just like he was being exploited at the freak show.
Right.
Yes.
I would say that Treves in general always feels a bit uneasy with his
He does,
role,
yeah.
But it's not distinct enough for him to do anything different until this moment.
Yes.
Like he feels uneasy because he does care about him.
Right.
But also this guy's necessary to all the things he wants to do with his job.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not an easy... He's not at peace with the situation.
Yes, he's not at peace.
And so to mitigate that, he does things like brings John over to meet his wife.
Yeah.
You know, which is a exquisitely painful and beautiful scene. But this conversation that he has with Mothershead, unbelievable. Does seem like the turning point of the film.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I have to do something to make his life.
Yes, and I think we as the audience recognize, like, oh yeah, actually what we thought was him getting help was not. It is just more of the same.
It's better than what he was dealing with.
It's better, but it's
still not good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, that brings us to the next unfortunate turn in John's story. So he actually gets Queen Victoria sends a letter, speaking of the Queen, who's involved in this hospital, allowing him to stay.
Yeah, I mean, he's literally the it child for a year or two in London.
People love to have him.
Yeah, he's at all the ballets and everything else. And, like, it, like, hurts, but it's also like, yeah, but I'm so glad he gets to see all that. Like, he gets to be seen. I don't know, so you have mixed feelings about it.
You have mixed feelings, and you know that he is treated in a special way where it's like any other person walking around during this time that has a similar affliction will not be going to the ballet, will not be doing any of these things.
No, it's symbolic and it's certainly self-aggrandizing and the kind of thing that you would see a rich class do.
Right, absolutely.
And like that's a completely valid satire. And all that and it's good. It works on that level. But also like I mean the man sits there and looks at Treves' wife in the face and says like he breaks down into tears and says like I'm just not used to being treated with such kindness by a beautiful woman. Yeah. And it's like my God, you know, right now it's bothering me. Like just like well, and also the connection to his mother and how he was like that was probably the only time he felt loved. If that even, we glean that may not even be true, but the way he speaks about it, is that way. Yeah. As I guess as a man, I completely understood what that feeling was. But it was just like, he did not think of himself as deserving to have a relationship with a woman like this. Yeah. Of any kind of relationship with her. You know what I mean? And she said, you're Knuff. Yeah, that's exactly what you said. Look enough. God, they could make a musical of this. I'm sure they tried, haven't they? Have they not? Oof, I don't know. It's entirely a bit. I do not. I feel like that's something that the street would do. Hollywood that's what you'd sell to this guy. Come see my. Come check out the musical. Man. So yeah, after what a long night for that woman. Longest night in the world for that woman. God, she did not wake up till 2 p.m. the next day. Oh no. Just slept. She might have slept all that. She might have gone a straight 36. Yeah. Just all the way through. Woo. That was her Saturday. That was it. So after he gets permission from Queen Victoria, Bites kidnaps him. Yeah. And takes him back. Right. On the freak show. So this is he goes all the way back. It's a very devastating film in that way. In that as soon as you think a single thing got good, it gets much worse. Yep. Yeah, so he is kidnapped. He is made to go back on the freak circuit. He gets very sick and ends up collapsing during a show. And then Bites ends up
locking him in a cage with animals, again, treating him like an animal.
Yeah.
And basically leaves him there to die. And
that was an interesting choice too, because that was the first time. That his cruelty was only malicious.
Yeah, it was a final. It was like
it was final. Yeah.
No longer want to deal with you, even for the money, which I loved so much to this point.
I don't just want to possess you. I don't just want to exploit you. I want to hurt you.
Yeah, I want you gone.
Harm you now.
Yeah. But he is saved by his fellow, for lack of a better word, freaks at the show.
Yeah, that's right.
They set him free. Yeah.
Because, man, if anybody deserves pity in the world, right, it's like...
Oh, my God. And who would know it better than the other people who are also being exploited?
That's right. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's such a given beat that you almost forget about it.
Yeah. It's very sweet.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, so they do that. He returns to London, and when he arrives, he gets, harassed by the crowd. And again, this is like...
He's wearing a mask. With he looks like Jason from Friday the 13th.
Yes.
Before the hockey mask.
Yeah.
And he gets surrounded, and that's when we hear the line that we all remember, I'm not an animal.
I'm not an animal.
I'm a human being. And we are ready for it at that point.
Yeah, that is... I feel like as an audience, that's what you were feeling. And it's like, he finally gets the catharsis of standing up for himself.
Yeah. Like every movie, like the greatest movies are almost always the hero has to do one very simple primal thing. And when they do it, you're like, like it's so relieving.
Yeah.
In this movie, he needed to stand up for himself.
Yeah.
By doing that, he is a man. You see what I mean? Like that.
Right.
Like, instead of somebody else doing it for him, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but for him to fully grow as a character, he has to say to that. He has to fight back. A thing he's never done. I know. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you don't think that's what you're rooting for, but you need it.
Right. Well, it's like I want him to be able to have that catharsis himself. Yeah.
Correct. Right. He wasn't even capable of it in some ways because of the abuse he's endured. Yeah. But he grew enough that he could make his own decisions. Yeah. So that's part of it too.
And his own, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and after that, I mean, we're almost to the end of the film. He is still very sick. He's recovered from his beating, but he still has a disease that is quickly spreading through his body.
Well, and also a thing that is sort of a running plot line is that he is not able to lay down.
Yes.
If he lays down, he won't be able to get up because of the weight of his head.
Yes.
And he will suffocate. So he has to sleep upright. I want to say that the guy who forces him into the freak show that's not Bites also puts him on the ground so that he almost dies.
Yeah.
Right? So like there's that thread happens a few times throughout the movie. I'm just setting you up for the last beat of the film.
No, it's good. Yeah. So Fred and Mrs. Mother's Head take him to see a play. This is again where we get a very like Lynchian dream sequence.
The play was wild.
It's wild.
It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, it is almost a match to the beginning of a montage of sounds and visuals and feelings and shapes. Yeah. His actress friend, Kendall, I think her name is, dedicates the performance to him. Yeah. And then that night, he thanks his friends and he lies down.
By choice,
which we know is not...
and dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
passes away.
He chooses to die. But he goes out on a high note, I guess, is the way to see it.
Yeah. And then the end, we hear his mother reciting an old poem.
Welcoming him home.
Yeah, and saying that you'll never die. Not that, but it's like there is no death. The connecting of the life and deathness, and
it was kind of that was where we got into transcendental meditation.
Yeah, we went back up to the stars in the end.
Correct. Yeah, this was, I think, the first time I can remember that we overtly dove into Lynch's beliefs about the universe.
Yeah.
But I think it was the right movie for him to do it. because, you want to think that this man's life is not this short and cruel.
Yeah.
Even though it has a sweet ending.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it's interesting.
It is interesting.
It's an interesting film. There is a lot to say about it. Even though we just recapped a lot of events.
Yes.
So I think it's time for us to talk in our next segment.
I think so too.
What really happened?
What really happened?
But before we get to what really happened, did you know there's a place where you can watch LynchPins completely uncensored and a week early and with additional content? Like Adam posing this question.
Do you think it's okay to pay your friends to make you cake if they make cake for fun?
Who's charging you for a cake?
Good question, not a friend.
Okay.
Well, then I would tell you that place is Nebula, the creator-owned streaming service. Nebula is a safe haven from the hammer of YouTube censorship and the unpredictable algorithm for all of your favorite creators. And you can join us on Nebula for just $2.50 a month with a link in the description. What is that, 2 bananas, Michael? Plus, if you're currently dressed like the Monopoly Man, you can buy a lifetime membership for $300. So you can watch Nebula for as long as you and Nebula both exist, which actually might be a long time if you're planning to freeze your consciousness. And I know it sounds like a lot, but $300 wouldn't even get you 2 years of Netflix. Come on, just watch The Ultimatum at your friend's house. Every subscription helps us produce bigger and better projects, like Jessie Gender's upcoming directorial debut, the short science fiction movie Identities, which I am in, among many other amazing actors like Abigail Thorne and John Delancey, and you'll only be able to see it on Nebula. Last year, I also produced a series called Unrated about the history of sex and gender in film. It explores the erotic adult works of some of my favorite filmmakers like David Lean, Stephanie Rothman, and Steven Soderbergh. Yes, we talk about Magic Mike. Whether you grab an annual subscription or splurge for a lifetime membership, you'll be helping us make stuff like LynchPins and all of the other great documentaries, essays, and shows made by all of your favorite creators. Just click the link in the description and sign up for Nebula today.
Do you ever hear the music between segments? I hear it sometimes.
In your mind's eye?
Yeah, no, out
In
loud.
your ears?
I'm hearing it.
Drum?
Yeah, in my ears drum. That's right.
I don't.
Is this
no.
like, I'm not daring you.
No.
Okay, all right. Okay.
You want me to sing it? I'll sing instrumental.
Listen, I'm happy to waste as much of the audience's time on this bit as I can.
I know you would.
You want to play Dare with me, bro?
I know you would.
I'll play Joke Chicken with you. I don't
know.
care.
You're the person I would pick on my team if we were playing
Joke Chicken?
Joke Chicken.
Okay,
You're on
that
my
is a
team.
fun weekend.
Let's do it.
That's a fun weekend activity.
Okay.
Let's get all your weird friends together.
Okay.
Joke Chicken.
That sounds great.
That's a good idea.
That sounds great.
Honestly, good idea.
That sounds great.
Thought of it right.
We've already played Breakfast Chicken.
That's
our
all
cracked friends.
Thank you for that reference. Anyway, this segment's called What Really Happened.
What really happened?
Now, we talked about a lot of the things I think that are relevant here.
We did. We touched upon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is a perfect cinematic experience for gently rubbing on its themes throughout, like and
Yes.
tying them all together. It's really good at that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's not dense. It's actually a fairly accessible film for that.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. And it is, and on its face, I think, a very, again, like, to use the words like human and primal, that like,
Yeah.
we are we other people, and we fear the other, and we demonize other, but really
True.
other is us. And we
Yeah.
are human. And
That's right.
Yes.
This
we are the
movie-
same.
This movie taps into both the morbid curiosity of like what a peep show is, like what a freak show is. There is a part of human nature that wants to see it.
Yeah.
And this movie does tap into that, not in an exploitative way, but in an honest way.
Yeah. And yeah.
And also the part of us that's repulsed by it. It taps into both and makes them both have a dialogue. And I think that's kind of cool. Right? Like Plato used to describe parts of the soul, and there was a part of the soul that he described as like wanting to see a dead body.
Right.
And then the part of you that when you see it goes, there, are you happy?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
great.
And
you
that's,
did it. Yeah.
that's kind of like who everybody is in this film.
Yeah.
On some level.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like even when they're doing a good thing, they're also not doing a good thing.
Yes. Yeah, which I think is very, it's very human.
Yeah.
To be holding both of those seemingly not
contradictory impulses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the challenge of, I guess we'll talk more about this later, but yeah, so, the first time we see John, it is very much framed as he's like a monster in the traditional film sense.
Yeah, we don't see him. He's a movie monster.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
In the classic. So, like, this is a thing that, this is like some technique stuff here. We'll just do that now, because why not?
Why not?
So, like, there are so many clever techniques employed by Lynch as a filmmaker to create the spectacle, but not reveal the way that John Merrick looks.
Yeah.
That entice and enhance the part of us that wants to see the freak. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Things
makes
like,
you confront it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of them are really obvious, right? Like not showing him. That's the first one.
Right, or seeing in silhouette.
The silhouette of him, right? The sound design of him that's like sort of, epic and mythic and or, the lighting where you don't really see him. You just see like the outline of his back or something like that, but you see just enough.
Yeah.
One of the coolest performances I've ever seen in a film is Anthony Hopkins seeing him for the first time. Mm-hmm. And you have that really weird dolly move that's like right into his eyes, and it's clear like, oh man, what is this going to be?
Yeah.
And I think it takes a certain amount of courage as a filmmaker to do that shot, because if the actual makeup isn't the best makeup ever done, that shot's going to seem very silly.
Right.
Your movie will seem silly.
Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins has to cry at nothing just from seeing this thing that we haven't seen yet. Like, that's a lot of hype. And the movie delivers.
Yeah.
That's wild.
They used a cast of John Merrick's actual body.
I know. Yeah, when you see pictures of him and you realize this isn't extreme, this is what he really looks like.
Yeah, it is not an exaggeration. It is it is true to life. Yeah. As close as they could get with makeup and
I don't know what the right way to talk about that is, other than to say like it makes you profoundly sad, just in that not because he's not a person, because he suffered. Like he suffered.
Yeah. And also the film is about that suffering in a way. Yeah. And implicating us as the viewer of like, when have you contributed to someone suffering by being a viewer?
Or by not holding up the person's dignity, by not seeing them as the same as you. A thing that's so easy to do. Yeah. It's so easy to do.
Right. And it is, again, going back to like very primal things, like when you're a kid, ew boys, ew girls, right. Like that's like the first, right. Those are the first others that you learn.
They are gross though.
They are gross and they're full of cooties. But again, it's like that is a very, when you're young, things like that just naturally happen. And it's like, oh, you need to teach yourself to give everyone their humanity.
It takes training to, that's right. It takes training to treat people with dignity. It's not a thing that naturally happens. Yeah. Our natural impulse is to reduce people, or to, I guess reduce is the only word I have. Like reduce him. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting too. 'Cause like you never really feel upset at Treves or at any of the people who John Merrick interacts with, even though you do recognize that what they're doing isn't necessarily moral, because it's hard to imagine how you'd be any different. It's really hard if you have any self-awareness.
Yeah. I do think that is part of the wonderful thing about this movie is the implication that it hands to the audience. Yeah. Like you are much like this young Sir Anthony Hopkins, and
it's tough for a movie to effectively point out a moral gap in the audience and make them own it.
Yeah.
It's really easy as a movie audience to be like, yeah, you're right. Those people were bad.
Yeah.
Like what bad people they were in 1890 in London or whatever. This movie really doesn't let you off the leash.
No.
And I
think that's so effective.
Yeah, it is.
It's so much easier to make a film where, Anthony's like the clearly in the wrong, and we can all be like, oh, well, that wouldn't be me. I wouldn't pay a ticket for that. And it's like, you don't know what you would do. And honestly, statistically, you probably would.
Yeah, you probably would.
Or even if you were a part of high society, you would be the one inviting him to the party or whatever.
You might be the one applauding him at the theater and thinking you're doing a really nice thing.
Right.
But also you're still treating him like he's not a person.
Yeah.
You know? And like, I'm not here to judge that. I think it's enough to point it out. That is enough.
Right. Because again, it is like a learning thing. Like, you know, you don't expect a child to understand what misogyny is, but you know, by the time they're older, it's like you do have to learn how to treat everyone with love and respect, and you know, get rid of your own
and eventually
whatevers.
Eventually your impulses and feelings match up.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that it's a training thing.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the part of the film where Lynch found ways to humanize him through seemingly disconnected pieces. For instance, John Merrick sat in a room where he saw the top of a chapel, just like the steeple of it. You know, it wasn't like the best view. And he slowly built a replica of the chapel, like, over his time there.
Yeah.
And the replica of the chapel was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was so well done and artistic, and it was like, wow. You know, like he really had a lot of talent. Also, watching John Merrick quickly adopt the manners of society was both heart-wrenching and but also beautiful.
Right.
You know, where he's allowed to sort of protest, you know, and allowed to have a normal social interaction.
Yeah, and how that is a performance. Like, they're performing. He's like, oh, I can perform.
I can do
I
that
actually
too.
am a performer.
Right.
Look at me go.
Right. And it's like, oh, good. It's not even a bad thing. Like, that's like, oh, good. That feels at home for him. Like, he finds peace there a bit.
Another little piece of that I think is great is the first time that we see John Merrick. I think this is
oh yes,
he's masturbating in his hospital bed.
Right.
And I love that because what am I doing when no one's around at night?
That's all I'm doing.
I know. I was like, that's me.
It's me.
It's me.
It's me.
Maggie.
Yeah.
I mean, and also, like, even the way he looks up, it's like the most like teenager, like, Mom, like, don't come in. Like, it's so like,
someone's in here.
Yeah. Just so like human and immediate. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of cool things about that moment. That didn't grok for me until just now.
Really?
Yeah. It just didn't scan for me. Very funny. Amazing.
Yeah.
It's incredible that Lynch went to all the trouble to build up this character and then gave us the most mundane reveal ever. Yeah. Like, we just sort of cut to him and there he is. Yeah. You know?
He's just in there.
Yeah, he's just
doing
there.
What we all do in the morning.
Yeah, and I mean, Lynch was really up against the wall here as a filmmaker because he has to do enough exploitation to sell the freak show. Right. But he can't exploit it or he's no better than the thing he's trying to say. Right. And I think he really did walk that tension well by giving us by undercutting that moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You're almost surprised by it because you're like, and there he.
Every single thing he does from the moment that we meet John Merrick is strange and beautiful. Yeah. Like they're not strange. Like what? They're strange. Like they're just not the choices you'd think. Like he'll stay in scenes longer than you think he should. There'll be scenes like, isn't this over yet? Not really. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna sit here for this little other thing that might happen or get said. Yeah. It's not advancing the plot. It's just what happened. Or the way that he covers scenes after that. Like he's very tender here as a director.
He is. There is a lot of tenderness.
Oh, but there's so much.
So much.
Like he he loves this guy.
Yeah.
He's very gentle the way that he shows this character.
But I think that shines through for us when we end up loving him. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same guy who's, making a trash goblin in Mulholland Drive, or like, portaling through a severed ear in Blue Velvet. Mm-hmm. This man knows how to make intense films if he wants to. So the light touch here is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. Mm-hmm. Another strange thing that's going on in this film that just kind of bears mentioning somewhere, so maybe it's here, is there's a lot of like industrialization stuff going on.
Yes.
Where like we'll just sort of get these scenes where, and now let's watch machines for a good 10, 15
Almost
seconds.
Like, wait a minute. We're all about to be exploited by the Industrial Revolution.
Maybe he is consciously making that point. He's certainly accidentally making it. There's no question about that.
It also fits the vibe, but there is some sort of like, wait, are maybe we all of us? Are maybe all of us we?
Yeah, maybe that is intentional. Mm-hmm. Or it does. I guess it doesn't really matter because it's in there. You definitely get this like long enough for you to be like, what? Mm-hmm. Where he'll like just show a big piston pumping or whatever, or like this big smokestack, and kind of just spend some time on the weird machination of 1800s Victorian London.
Yeah, we'll come back to that because that.
Okay, good. You have more to say. Yeah. Wonderful. That I'm happy to leave it at that.
Okay, great.
So are we ready to?
I think we're ready to move on to. Wait, what?
Wait, what? This is Wait, what?
Wait, what?
In which we talk about some of the more deep read stuff. I don't have a lot for this film because we've kind of covered a lot of themes.
We've covered a lot.
The one technique that I think deserves to be highlighted from this, there are a lot of cool zooms and dollies, but they're not like, is the sound design. Lynch is an incredible sound designer. He does not give a shit how things should sound.
Yeah.
Doesn't care.
Throw that out the window.
That's right.
That is not a consideration.
All the great sound designers understand this. David Lynch is just a guy who's like, I don't care if it doesn't even resemble how it's supposed to sound, as long as it feels good.
Yeah.
And also can create meanings you don't expect. For instance, the way that the mom sounds when the death scene happens at the top of the film is clearly an homage to an elephant, right? Like an elephant raging out. But also, it feels like it takes on this much more, like the suffering that people feel.
Yes.
Like it feels like it's sort of a way of talking about suffering in a bigger way. In a way that's like taking the human dignity out and what's left is sort of animal suffering. Like it's this one sound effect that kind of captures John Merrick's life.
Yeah.
And it's enhanced by like the weird blurred visuals of her like sort of shaking her head from side to side and screaming. And it's you don't think much about it because it's like, dream sequence, but like you get this feeling of we're really hanging on this.
Yeah.
Right?
What are we
on
here?
It for a while. Because I think he's articulating the theme there, and he does that a lot. He'll remove sounds to keep you dialed into things, or he'll hype up sounds to give you discomfort in ways that are always pushing you toward. He wants to make you aware of the feelings you're having.
Yes.
He wants to make you go, why am I feeling like this?
Right. Why is it so unsettling?
Yeah, he does want that. In this film, he does.
Yeah.
Sometimes he just wants you to have the feeling. But I feel like in this movie, he's like, you shouldn't feel like this, right? Right?
Right.
Don't you see that?
Right.
You don't see that much in the sound design scape, and I kind of love that about him, that he's willing to play in that space. Sound design often gets sort of relegated to, like it's an incredible work, but often it's not viewed with as much admiration in the film industry as it should.
Yeah, the artistry behind it is often overlooked. Yeah,
right. Like it's not uncommon, for instance, to joke on sets a lot that like the production sound guy, it's like, oh, come on, sound, stop making us wait for you, right?
Right. Even though that is like
it's half the movie, it's half the experience.
Yes.
But like often the sound guy is the guy that's like, all right, come on, Betty, like you know, figure it out, man. That's kind of the tone, and it's not right, and everybody knows that. But like that tells you a little bit about how it's not as regarded or revered. But Lynch really gets the value of it,
Absolutely,
and gets more value from it because of that. So keep your ears peeled.
Yeah,
for the sound design.
That's actually a great segue into what I was gonna talk about.
He's good at sound design.
Great sound design. It's great.
And I said it first.
And what Adam said.
But me says it.
But
now.
I say it. Whatever he said, I said it.
Right.
30 times. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on a thing that I think is very interesting and a conversation this film is having about being a viewer.
Yeah.
And what that means and how you are implicated as a viewer. So I'm, with all the not showing John's entire body, we are put in the position of we are at the peep show. We are also looking.
Right.
We are also at the freak show.
That's
we are the ones in the audiences because we don't even see him, but we're, gawking at. We're here to see this Elephant Man movie. And that is so very like apparent and layered. And the part where it's like implicating you, it's asking like, should I feel this way? Do I feel this way? It's very much a part of the film.
What have you seen a trailer for this? Have you ever seen how they advertised it?
I think so when we were doing it, but I don't remember.
I don't remember it either. I kind of wonder how you sell this film to an audience. Like if you sell them the freak show to make them come, right?
Right. And then
go, you bastards.
At first, you will want to turn away from him. Then you may find him a silent, unresisting target for your ridicule. But if you come to know him,
have you always been the way you are now?
You will begin to see beyond the perversion of his form and discover the beauty in the beast.
And perhaps for the first time, you will understand the true meaning of courage and human dignity.
Kubrick used to do that. Kubrick, the ads for A Clockwork Orange are, first of all, he cut them himself, and they're very much like you want the ruckus, man. Here it is, and it feels like, oh, this is gonna be fucking bananas, and then of course the movie turns that on you.
Yeah.
So I kind of wonder if that's what Lynch did. I don't know.
We'll have to look it up.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
I'll never know though, for the purposes of this podcast.
Yeah. Don't ever.
It's too late.
Yeah.
For us.
Time. That is how time works. Unfortunately.
That's right.
You can only go.
Correct.
Can't go backwards.
You can look that up too.
Yeah.
You'll learn it.
Look it up.
If you look it up.
Goes from 1 to 12.
I could. That's just scientific fact.
Yeah.
I've destroyed your point. What is it you were saying? I'm so sorry. What is it? How did I? Yes.
But beyond that, beyond like implicating us as a viewer, we also see just like going back to one of your favorite parts of the movie, but when we are watching two women forced to view. They don't even want to be there.
I don't want to see them.
Yeah, I don't want to see them.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see that guy being disgusting.
He's
but
real
also,
bad.
At that moment, they are looking in the camera. He is looking at us.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
We are
That's
John
true.
Merrick. We are put in his position of a leering, jeering, being othered by a mass of people and being helpless in that way.
Yeah.
We're not even there.
Yeah.
That is a film. There's nothing we can do to tell them to stop that, to let those girls go home. That is an impossibility.
Yeah.
So we are also put in the position where we are both implicated as a viewer, but then also put in the position of being viewed. And that does tie into...
That's true.
Yeah, there's a lot of like an undercurrent. There's like physical abuse on its surface, but also an
Definitely.
undercurrent of sexual abuse and
Yeah, people touch each other in weird ways in this movie.
yes,
All
yeah,
the time.
absolutely.
Yeah. That's the scene. The one that we keep mentioning is the one where it actually breaks through. But it's, I feel like, and we were talking about this when we watched it, like it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Like there is sexual exploitation going on everywhere in this film.
Yes. Yeah. And I do feel like that is very much tied into like when we're being leered at by that man.
Right.
We are all being leered at.
Right.
And that is not a good feeling.
Didn't
Don't
care
like that
for it.
face. Don't care for it.
Didn't like that.
Don't like it.
Yeah.
But I think the film builds a very compelling, empathetic argument of how it feels to be the viewed, and also implicating the viewer as someone participating in the viewership.
Yeah. And it doesn't do it in the traditional POV shot way very often. But you pointed that out, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah. He gets a lot done in this little movie.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
He gets there's a lot of substance to it. I think it feels like it too when you watch it.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
Definitely worth a watch if you overlooked it.
Yeah.
To now.
It is black and white, but it is beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
And it also feels reminiscent of Eraserhead in that it's small. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not a big movie.
Yeah.
It takes place in, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 places. Mm-hmm. And it has the feeling of a very small team making a very intimate story. Mm-hmm. You know, Eraserhead, that's one of the joyous things about it, is that, like, it feels like one guy made this.
Yeah.
One wonderfully maniacal man
Yeah.
made this. This feels a little bigger than that, but not a lot bigger.
Yeah.
It's a pretty small movie.
Yeah. It is about one man, kind of two.
Yeah. Yes. In like 4 spaces. You
Yeah.
know, like, it's not, and it's beautiful. It's well lit. It's one of the black and white movies. It's like, oh, this is why you shoot in black and white.
Yeah.
You get to get this.
Absolutely.
You're achieving it here. Mm-hmm. I feel like maybe speaking of achieving it, maybe it's time for us to turn the spotlight on. What do you think?
I think so. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
This seems like the right time to get silly and non-helpful.
Yeah,
This
I
seems
think
like
so.
the
Right
time
when we're
we
getting
should
to the end of it,
Yeah.
wrapping it up.
Yeah,
for
this is the time to go.
serious viewers.
Yeah, 25-minute tirade.
Yeah. Tirade.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
About mermaids. Get them out of movies.
Wow.
Yeah, get them out.
Wow.
No more mermaids.
Wow. Did
Fish
you hear that,
legs? No
Lighthouse?
thanks.
Dang.
Yeah, barely in it.
That's true.
You know, so they're doing their part.
It was
Yeah.
still in it though. Didn't need to be in it.
I don't need you to
I liked
contradict
it.
me on camera.
I liked it.
You
Not on camera. Not on camera.
Oh, shit.
Ah.
Anyway, this has been Spotlight.
That was it.
No. All right, we're back.
We're back.
And we look like this now, which
do.
means things are better. Is this is better?
We're hotter in this light?
Oh, so much hotter.
Oh my god.
So much
Sound
hotter.
off in the comments.
That's right.
Uh,
Yeah, we'd both like to hear that.
Yeah.
Sound off. Yeah.
so Spotlight. We talk about the things that are Lynch pillars.
Yeah, Lynchian across works.
Yes,
Yeah.
a thing you'll find in any and all Lynch
Things that are
works.
true across the Lynchiverse.
Yes. First one I will toss out, and
Yeah.
we did mention it earlier, so I do want to
Yeah.
bring it back. Machines.
He loves them so much.
Loves them so
Weird
much.
machines.
Weird machines.
Yeah.
If you never watched Twin Peaks, but if you've seen just the opening credits, about half of it is machines.
Yeah, just what do they even do?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yes.
He loves them.
He loves them.
Yeah.
Everything about them. And he showcases them quite often in his work. And this, I will say, is a notable selection for the machine.
It feels like when he was a child, he was like watching late night television a lot when they were doing like industrial commercials or something. Right? Doesn't like he loves it.
Yeah. Or it was around a bunch of old machines that were like
Yeah.
rusting a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like the feeling of a political ad to it, where it's like, you know, good old America, where we saw trees still.
Right. Anyways, isn't this person a terrible freak? That is America.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this still is about London, but he'll put some machines any old place where he can.
Anywhere. Yeah.
As we said, so I don't need to go into a lot of detail, always keep your ears peeled on the sound design. Particularly when he starts writing his own music, which I'm pretty sure he does quite a bit of. Lynch is one of the best sound designing directors.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't necessarily mean he's doing it all himself, but as a creative overseer of the soundscape, few match him.
Absolutely.
Very few.
I will also say, with the machines, I do think a part of it is the juxtaposition of humanity and
horrific clanking.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing that humanity has created. Yeah, this inhuman object that is just moving without.
Yeah. Like he uses machines the same way that Stanley Kubrick uses too many takes.
Yeah.
Where it's like he sort of robs, he sucks the humanity out of something on purpose.
David Lynch was like, oh, I'll do that, but with an object.
I'll do it with a metaphor.
Yeah. Instead of a human, I'll just...
Kubrick is so offended
I know.
in the afterlife right now.
It's like tisking. Tisking from above.
He's like, give me the Earth viewfinder.
My God.
Yeah. By the way, the behind the scenes on The Shining, so everyone talks about it for the Shelley Duvall stuff. Sure.
Yeah.
Watch it for the Shelley Duvall stuff. But also watch it for like how he makes a movie. Like there's just all these people sitting around and here he is on a viewfinder just like, could be this. What about I don't know, try doing the line this way. Like he's got Jack Nicholson there in costume and he's laying down with a viewfinder just watching him like, what if he did the line here? Yeah. It's pretty good. And you're like, man, how did he get away with that?
I know.
It's wild.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know if David Lynch ever had the kind of budget to make a movie like that.
I definitely didn't have the luxury of time to do
That's
anything
what I mean.
like that. Yeah.
That's budget. Time is money. Like, literally in film, it's like you are paying for all that time for all those people to sit around. Lynch seems like he must be very effective with time. Because he gets away with a lot of stuff, and I don't think they're like pouring money into his movies.
Yeah. There's again, when we watched the behind the scenes of Twin Peaks, there's a moment where it comes to a head, but he speaks on that.
Yeah, I mean, he's also willing to make compromises creatively on tech that most filmmakers won't.
Yeah.
He didn't on this film, but like one day we'll talk about Inland Empire, where he shot on like DV cam.
Yeah.
Or some format like that.
Bizarre.
You're like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, he is willing to compromise on format for money, and that's an interesting.
It is interesting.
Choice.
Yes.
He's the opposite of Christopher Nolan.
Yes.
Like who's like it's all gotta be IMAX.
Right. It has to be. Yes.
It has to be IMAX.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the opposite of
Lynch
that.
is
It's like no.
I'll shoot on a DV cam.
Yeah. I just need the this.
Yeah.
Give me this. I don't care about this.
Let me reverse time. Please allow me to throw out anything resembling a script.
Yeah.
And give me a PD 150,
Thank
and
you.
I'll make a film.
Go away, please. Thank
Depart.
you.
No.
Yeah.
You may depart.
Speaking of that, one of the other motifs that we'll see a lot is David Lynch's love of Hollywood, but in this, it's just a love of old film.
Yes. Lots of old film technique.
Yes. Yeah. Old film technique, shooting in black and white. Even a lot of the edits are very old-timey feeling.
Yeah, he'll sit on a scene for a while in a way that you just don't see in movies anymore.
Yeah, and like cut away quickly in a way that...
Yeah, he does do that.
Just like an old-timey sensibility.
Yeah, he's another one of those guys that's like a classic Hollywood, but with some new twists on it. It's another reason why Hollywood quickly adopted him.
Yeah.
Because he also understood old Hollywood.
Right.
And found ways to modernize it. Lynch is doing that a lot too.
Yeah.
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 What a great guy.
What a great guy.
You know?
Yeah.
What a wonderful person. I'll just also say that despite all the strangeness you'll find in his films, one thing he's better at than almost every director is working with actors.
He's amazing.
Consider the performances he's getting from people where it's just makeup or where John Merrick isn't even there. You know, he's getting incredible work from these actors that doesn't just happen.
Yeah.
You know, even somebody of the caliber of Anthony Hopkins, who's a great filmmaker or a great actor, you know, Anthony Hopkins isn't always so layered and dense and sort of emotionally available. You know,
but he gets it. And it's also, I mean, David Lynch, in the medium of film, he is so good about emotion. He is very emotional, and that's what his films are about.
If you're bad at that, you can't make films.
Right. And actors, I mean, we are in the currency of emotion. What am I feeling? So the language is also, there's a shared language between Lynch and his actors that is, especially now, that is rare to come across.
I've heard, I happen to have watched a bunch of behind the scenes about this movie over the years because I really like it. He has he spends more time with his actors than a lot of these. Like, he'll have lunches and dinners and like have a friendship with these actors a lot of times. That's just not always the case for reasons you can understand.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of investment for an actor to give and a director to give to a fairly small movie. This isn't a big movie.
Yeah.
But I think it shows. I really do.
Absolutely.
I think the work shows.
Yeah.
What else you got on the list?
I got a few more things. Okay. One of them being dream sequences.
Oh my God.
David Lynch is famous for them.
Yeah.
And this film has them.
We didn't get into the play that John Merrick watches or what that's about.
Right.
And so I think it's just safe to say all the subjective pieces are there in the... When you see the full play, you're like, oh, I see what he's looking at.
Right.
Now.
Oh, I get it. Yes.
And the subjectivity of it is clearly supposed to give you a sense of John Merrick's confusion and like not
and
seeing
wonder
things.
And yeah.
But also, it's more than that.
What
does it mean? I don't know.
Right.
I'm not totally sure.
Yeah. And maybe you don't need. It's more of an
experience.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's another way he sort of forces you to be present tense.
Right.
He's really good at that.
Yeah. You don't have to think about it because it's not asking you to...
You can't think about it and know it.
You have to just feel.
You have to just feel it. Yes. He removes the analytical piece.
Yeah.
He does that a lot.
It's healthy to do every once in a while.
This is probably his most expansive that I remember version of the looking up in the stars afterlife, which we talked about.
Yes.
But it occurs in several of his films. So, and if you want to know more about that, go listen to his records where he talks explicitly about transcendental meditation. That's his thing.
Yeah, it's interesting that we did Straight Story and then The Elephant Man. They both have the star shot.
I'm wondering, because it's been a while since I've seen all of his films, I'm wondering if it's going to be in like 9 or 10 of his films or if we just saw them all. I don't know.
The last one I will bring up, and this is more a theme that he discusses a lot in his work, and this is the first time in, the filmography as we're going through it that it comes up, but it will become a theme, and that is cycles of abuse and how that is manifested. And again, David Lynch is very interested in the things that are beautiful about humanity and the things that are ugly.
Yeah, the grimy undercurrent.
Yes, yeah.
He gets more into that the closer he gets to telling movies about Hollywood.
Yes.
He
ending in Inland Empire, which is...
Yeah, he gets into the grime in Hollywood for sure.
Yeah.
But exploitation, often sexual, is a big part of his narrative. He's just interested in talking about that.
Yeah, and we see, the grains of much more to come.
Yes. I mean, get ready.
Yeah.
His films are going to get much wilder from here on out.
Yeah. This is
the last normal film.
This was the last normal film, yeah.
Dune is fairly straightforward comparatively.
Yeah, comparatively.
And that says something.
Yeah, that
Dune is the next. Yeah. Because Dune is the next one we're going to do, right?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. I haven't consulted the list, but that sounds right.
But as I recall, maybe Blue Velvet after that.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, there we go.
Woo!
There we go. So there's lots of... The best is yet to come, my friends.
The best is yet to come. I didn't want to quote that.
Are you going to scream? Because that'd be amazing. Yeah, and it just goes on a loop for a while.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Well, Will can loop that.
Yeah. Can we get a loop?
Can we
get a loop?
Can you just make that like a dream thing?
I feel like I'm living in one now. Can we make this a dream?
Can we make this a dream?
Can we make this a dream? Can we make this a dream?
Thank you for listening to LynchPins. If you enjoyed the show, tell a friend. Be sure to leave a like and hit the subscribe button. And if you really enjoyed the show and want to help us make more episodes, get access to exclusive bonus content, and see your name in the video podcast credits, head over to patreon.com/MaggieMayFish. LynchPins is hosted by me, Maggie Mayfish, and Adam Ganser. Produced by Will Reese, with original music composed and produced by Daniel Klein. And be sure to join us for the next episode as we discuss David Lynch's Dune.